Great. Oh no, you're going to charge it now. Every time he does it.
And then he put it on the and then we brought it. Oh, right. It's the only one here in something else there.
Don't try and do it.
Oh, go for it, bud.
We do have the fans and aircon running, so you don't have to worry about that. It's quite cool in there, reasonably. So 3 points of contact, make sure your hands are firmly gripped and pull yourself up. Yeah, so we've had this for over a year now, a lot of restoration work going into this. We got this donated very kindly by Victrax, so we want to thank them for that. It's not something easy to donate a train. And these were built in the 1970s, this one particularly. Are you guys train buffs or?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so you probably all know that information.
Yes.
This one was 1975, 50th birthday is next year.
Okay.
So we'll put a cake on, we'll do something fun for that. This particular unit was refurbished in 2008 by Connex. You can see it, one of the other carriages we've got, if you do the workshop tours. That was during the refurbishment. They were incredibly dirty, lots of problems, but they added air conditioning for just the drivers, not for the passengers. So unfortunately, yeah, you still had to deal with the openable windows. They were trialing air conditioning, but
Oh, yeah, brilliant.
so that, we were surprised when we got that working. It was a little bit dusty, to say the least. We were quite worried about what was coming out of it. So these trains were sitting for about 10 years before we got them.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of stuff in those ducts. So up there, so this would control the whole 6 car trains these used to run in. So you used to be able to cut out the motors. If something was smoking or on fire underneath, something wasn't working quite correctly, you used to be able to cut out the carriages. So you could choose to cut out either all the motors on this, some of the motors, or none of the motors, so just be normal operation. And you've also got camshaft control. So this is what this massive thing here is, and that would, well, this is what that would control, sorry. And that would do, allows you to shut it off or make it inoperable in case an accident would occur.
Okay.
And this is what the radios used to look like,
Oh,
a little bit
wow.
more modern now. So those have been retired, if I'm correct, at the time, at least. That was still in the cab when we got this, so we're very lucky to have that. But we will have to eventually replace it and fit it with
To
an
run it
IC
on the
radio.
main line.
Yeah. So talk about running it on the main line. Hopefully, our goal is to get this operational probably in the next 5 years. I know that's a long time.
Yeah, well, you guys are doing a lot of work.
Yeah,
That's
so
a great effort.
yeah. If you think that's a long time, steam locomotives take 20 years as well. So on average, if they need a full overhaul, but there's a lot of stuff that needs to be worked on this. Even though this seems very flashy, it's a lot of stuff that's behind the scenes that needs to be done.
Brand new? Yeah. Little wheels. Oh, there it is. That green one I just showed you before, it's over there. Oh no, I love these. So these are like the red Latnas, but instead of the sliding door, they have a swing door. Sorry, steamies. Sorry.
你哋都啲人知道好踩啦。係啊，做輕租啦。係啊，真係有心咧，不得不佩服啊！
Enjoying it?
Yeah.
Yeesh. Oh, let's see if I can move him for a while. Looks like the brake. Pour out your present. I'm assuming this is J51 for R. Oh, well, 541. I thought it was 515, but 515's at Seymour. Hello. Look at you. This one's being restored. I thought it was the one from Malden and that, but it's the same kind, but I don't think it's the right badge number. Look at it without its wheels. It bears the pistons. All of its wheels are off. Let's have a look at the cab.
This is the engines, oil, got a high side cheese.
Enjoying it?
Yeah, I'm good.
I know Dad isn't here right now, but that's what I was talking about before with the multiple boiler tubes. I'm going to assume the boiler tubes are the little ones and the big ones are for the exhaust from the fireballs. That's what I'm assuming. What is this? K160?
And it's called a boiler because it was
Yeah,
water that was
Y112. Y112. I didn't know this was actually in the state of restoration. I thought it was operational. It was 2 years ago, but not anymore. Still a nice little loco though. It's from Swan Hill. I work down here and see they get backward from the time by the looks of it. They either drive.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for firstly coming out to the Steamrail Open Day for 2024. This is a biannual thing, and to be coming out here when it's like 37 degrees, and somebody says 37, 38, and 39, I think we've got it, or 36. It's fantastic. So it's good to see all your smiling faces. So this is a talk on the on this Winton engine and the battle for horsepower. So I'll start off with who we are. We're the Diesel Electric Rail Motor Preservation Association of Victoria. We like to keep the diesel electric rail motors roadworthy. But from 1928 up to 1951, they were driven by these petrol engines. Our group was formed in 1986, and one of the things that we wanted to do was get one of these petrol engines, and we weren't successful in doing that until about 1994. We found this one on eBay. They say everything's on eBay. We only know of 5 of these in existence in the world, and this is one of them. The others are over in America in rail motors and stuff like that. This one come out of a fishing vessel. This one come out of a fishing vessel, and that's still got the marine gearbox on the end of it.
Any train engines, sorry, petrol?
No, they're all diesel now. They're all converted over. Excuse me. So this is a 106 model engine. The people that built these were the Winton Engine Company. They were eventually in 1930 brought out by General Motors, and then it went on to become the Winton Engine Company for a little while, and then turned into, they split the company in half, and they called it the Cleveland Diesel Engine Division, which made the big engines, and the smaller engines were the Detroit Diesel Engine Company, which went on to make the successful 671 series engine. But Winton started off with these as a result of wanting to build these rail motors, and Harold Hamilton, who was in charge of the Winton Engine Company, went to Winton and asked them if they could build them an engine, and that's what they turned up with. This is a 106A model engine, but the first engine they built was a 106 model engine at 175 horsepower. And they gave it to the railways. They put in the rail motor, and the railway started using the rail motors, and then more people started getting on the rail motors because it's very clean, there was no soot and steam, and they thought, well, this is a really good thing, we'll go and ride on this. They went and told their friends come, they wanted to ride on it. The railways had trouble, they needed to put a carriage on, so then they wanted more horsepower. So they went back to the engine, back to Locomotive, and said, we need more horsepower. So the Winton Engine Company bought out the cylinders on this engine to make it a 106A model engine at 220 horsepower. So they put them in the rail motors, and the railway said, no, you've lost the plot. We want more horsepower.
Need more horses?
Yeah, more horses. So they said, okay, no worries, we'll make more horses. So they made a 120 model engine, which developed 300 horsepower. Give it to the railways, and the railway said, no, we need more horsepower. So they put 2 of them in. So when they put 2 of them in, these things are drinking petrol like there's no tomorrow, and then it became uneconomical to put more petrol engines in these rail motors, because it was more economical to actually put a steam engine on the front and have a couple of cars on the back. So that's how things go. So these people understood the limitations of these engines, the people that were building them, and what they said was that we need something different. So then they went on a tangent, and they actually created the distillate engine, which was 900 horsepower. And what they were doing was taking distillate fuel, putting it through a preheater at 160 degrees, feeding it into the carburetors of the engine, and when it got in there, they would ignite it with spark plugs, and the vaporised fractions would burn. They'd burn the rest of the fuel and it would run, but getting that engine to run was a grim business. What they wanted was a diesel engine. So General Motors had been looking at the diesel engine field, and they wanted to get a diesel engine. Excuse me. They wanted to get a diesel engine for their trucks and buses they were making. And they wanted a small engine, but then the US Navy took an interest in diesels, and they wanted to get some for their submarines. And so they became interested in building a bigger engine. And so the problem with the diesel engines, they couldn't get it to run properly because they couldn't get the fuel injection timing to work properly. And General Motors were working on it in their own laboratory, but they hadn't come up with anything successful. When they found out that Carl Salisbury for the Winton Engine Company had actually designed a unit fuel injector, but he couldn't get it to work properly because their machines didn't have the ability to get down to the fine tolerances needed to make a unit fuel injector work. And so they had the designs, they showed it to a guy by the name of Charles Kettering, who was in charge of research and development. And then he ended up spending a lot of time in the research area, and they built the unit fuel injector. It's not what you see today. It's actually this is a different version of it, but that's a General Motors one. This actual unit fuel injector is in my hand, but other ones just like it are in all the railway diesel engines. That B class that's going up and down has got 16 of these in there injecting the fuel. So the fuel goes in this side, comes out that side. The fuel actually lubricates the fuel injector and cools the unit fuel injector, but also is there to deliver the fuel into the engine cylinder. So what happens is this, you might have seen a power assembly in the Steamrail area. Well, it's got a set of valve bridges on it on each side of this, and then there's a central plunger that pushes that down. When it pushes that down, that is metering how much fuel's actually going into the engine. It pushes it down, and when it pushes it down, 5 spray jets come out, atomises fuel, and then the heat of the cylinder then ignites that fuel and away the diesel engine runs. It's a... What's that? No, it just goes back into the tank. Yeah, the mass of fuel in the tank is the thing that does the cooling. I'll put this down so I don't lose it all, that's quite big. So once... So once they had actually worked out how they were going to make the fuel injector work, they actually made a set. Charles Kettering had a set put into his yacht, a set of Winton engines with unit fuel injectors and diesel engines, but they wouldn't run properly. So after the research people came up with the unit fuel injector, they put him into his yacht, and his was the first diesel engine to run successfully on unit fuel injectors. So we've been chasing for one of these engines ever since the group came into existence, and this one was over in Seattle in Washington in the United States. And as I said before, it came up on eBay, and I rang up the group at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's the executive committee. I said, there's a Winton engine, 168 model engine on eBay, should I buy it? Yeah, buy it, they go, after being woken up. And so we bought it, and the guy that we purchased it off, he wrote back to us and he said, look, I don't think you understand just what you've purchased, so I'm going to release you out of the sale. So I wrote back to him with a photo of our petrol engine, which is exactly the same we had the rail motors. And he wrote back to me and said, no, you do actually understand what you've purchased, so now you've just got to pay me the money, and then what we'll do is you've got to get the engine over there. So I rang up a shipping company. You know, you wanted something trucked, you just go to a trucking company. I just went to a shipping company, rang them up, and they said, no, you don't understand, it doesn't work like that. He said, you've got to go to a freight forwarding agent, they'll work the tax and all that sort of stuff out. So we went to them, and 3 months later the engine arrived here. And that's the only reason that there's one of them in the southern hemisphere, because this has come out of the northern hemisphere. So this is the only one that's in existence down here.
Well done.
So what I'll do is start it for you now, and I get myself all tangled up with this thing, so I've got to just watch myself. I've got to turn the pencil on. This thing's very loud, and it's very temperamental too. Some days it'll perform nicely, and other days it doesn't. What's the next one? It's got a dry sump, so it relies on the day tank. We keep all the oil in this day tank here. But if you leave the valve open, which I've done a couple of times, you have to pump it all back into the engine before you can get anything. All right, now turn on the ignition and start the engine. All right, here we go. You ready? That's what a 168 petrol engine sounds like. This gets really hot really quick. Turn the oil off. And so has anybody got any questions?
So, how many cylinders and what's its displacement?
Well, everyone asked me that question. You know, up until the last talk, I didn't know. So it's 1,982 cubic inches, and each one of the cylinders is the same size as a 327 V8 petrol engine.
Of course it is.
So it's like got 6 V8s there. I mean, it certainly sounds like it's like got 6 V8s. I used to tell everyone it sounds like it's got 70 V8s are all running all idling together, but it's actually not 70. It's only 6, which is disappointing.
How much petrol, like, per whatever?
When they were in the rail vehicles, they used to do 1 mile to every 4 gallons of fuel they were using, and then they were a lot thirstier than that if they were pulling the trailer. So they get down to probably 3.5. Yeah, so there's a lot of petrol. During the war years, they were going through, I can remember this because it's 84, they were going through 8,484 gallons of fuel a month.
Can it run on power carro?
We've never tried it, it probably could. I mean, the old Fords and tractors used to do it. They'd start them up on petrol, run them and then convert over to kerosene. But we've never tried that on this. I suppose you could do it.
I heard a bloke in the know told me a VW truck used $2 a kilometre.
Oh, okay. In diesel?
Yeah, the amp play.
No, it just points and distributors. Who? Kettering? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Charles, you mean? Yeah. How are you, Ken? No? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, people say to me, "Hello, Colin." I go, "How are you?" "Hello." All right then.
Thank you.
And once again, many thanks for coming to the Steamrail Open Day on Such.
Excuse me, Mr. Cowcatcher. Can you get me some Wagyu burgers, please? Thank you.
Direct current and alternative current.
Oh, they got an S-Class, they all got scrapped. There's an N, look at the N. That's pretty much what it is, yeah. And they got all the other working ones over there. 76.
They got another model of the 40.
Yeah. are you? Good?
Very good, yourself?
Good, thank you. What's the water you're dumping there? Is that the dirty one?
No, that's just the overflow for the injector when you trim it.
Okay. And that's what, isn't that the automatic stroker or whatever they call it?
Mechanical stroker, yeah, mechanical stroker. So the screw's just in there. Screw from the tender all the way.
So you put the coal in that?
No. It's not like a screw, like a auger. The coal comes from the tender through that.
Okay.
When it comes up, you'll be able to hear that coal there.
Okay.
And it blows the coal all over it.
So it sucks it from the tender.
Yeah, there's a screw all the way from the tender underneath
okay.
and goes up underneath that.
One space with
Yeah, give it a little pull, mate.
Thank you very much.
All good.
Appearance from the 9 road bay that it's been sitting on to up the neck of the yard here. That will be run by trains. They're just moving the locomotive up here, shunting it into the service sidings, and then they will swap over to the A2 and the D3 locomotive. R761's just had a recent repaint in time for this open date, and this is essentially the paint condition and livery that it wears after its preservation in the 80s.
I must say it's a fantastic job done by the carbon team at Steamrail. And it's a testament of, giving these guys while playing a golf combination. What a stunning locomotive. Ladies and gentlemen, what a fantastic lineup of locos we've got here. And if you like taking a photos of our 761, why don't I invite you to take, another suggestion at the Newport Relative is like taking more photos of 7 locomotives. They have a fantastic array and collection of locomotives.
Walking's a bit challenging for you today. That's okay. The shuttle bus also does a drop off at the Newport Railway Museum. Go see our friends over there and go have a look. They've got a lot of nice exhibits there. It's all most of it's undercover, and there is a lot of air conditioning available there.
Love it to see you always, ladies and gentlemen. So it's all over your ship front, ladies and gentlemen, orange galore.
Now, looks like they're moving B72 out of the way. Look at that. Teacup livery.
pretty good.
Now, what's it like steering this locomotive up and down the yard?
Slow and heavy.
Tell us a few things about this locomotive.
Well, these things are an express passenger loco built in the 50s to replace the A2. And, well, they're quite a modern loco with various features and quite friendly on the cruise.
Now, what are we waiting upon here? We've got B72 just down the yard there, and then we've got the double header waiting to get the passage of the ladder track. What's happening with you guys?
We are waiting until quarter to the next hour to go on the goods and do a display run on the goods with this locomotive for the first time since 2005.
Very nice. And this locomotive's gone through a repaint recently, which it debuts today. Just describe what the repaint is about on this one.
So we decided that later this year marks 40 years since Steamrail got this locomotive going. So we thought we'd spruce it up and also do a bit of a throwback to when it first got going with little things like the chrome dart bar and wheel on the front of the smoke box and the Steamrail headboard being relocated up to the top of the front panel and just making it shiny.
I'm glad to see the headboard on there because, as we all know, rail enthusiasts trackside love headboards, don't they?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think it's a steam loco without a headboard, so, you know, it's got to have a headboard.
Excellent. All right, well, I'm going to climb off your locomotive now. Thank you so much, Tim, and make it a good one. Now, I believe that should have been the last photo run by for the double header. Right, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, R761 is being shunted ahead to be put in position onto the freight consist. They are next on our photo run by schedule. As we spoke to Tim before on the locomotive there, the locomotive has gone through a very nice repaint. As much, looking as much as it did when it entered preservation 40 years ago this year. So that'll be next on the photo run by, and then in another half hour at 3:15, we are lining up all three R-Class locomotives, R761, R711 and R700. have a hat on. I notice a lot of purple beat on hats sitting around. That's going to be worth a bit if you manage to grab one. Put on plenty of sunscreen, and if you do need water, there is a water fountain near the clock tower supplied for by Hopkins Bay City Council. So when the locomotive are referred to as hutches, that means the wheel arrangement. So look at that 11 over there, it's got what we call a 4-6-4 wheel. There's 4 wheels on the pump truck. You've got the spring line wheel, and then you have the 4 other wheels on the trailing noses of the locomotive. So the outclasses are 190 tonne, or 187 if I want to be precise.
Here we go. Can I put my hand through here? Oh. Here we go. Oh, this is how my nanny would have travelled in the Red Rattles. No air conditioning in these, fellas. Hello, hello. Here's A66. They turn the horn off on the end.